Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Music and Culture. Before watching, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for the upcoming videos. Also, like and share the videos. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Music and Culture. Today, we're going to spend a little time talking about ourselves. When I say ourselves, me included, when we leave our own home, our own country to come abroad, and what we wished when we were here we could have done, and what happened to us when we come abroad. First of all, when we are in our countries, everybody dreams is to go abroad or somewhere out of our comfort zone to look for a better life, seeking for better education, or just move on because we don't like what we live in our country. Sometimes we don't live because we want to live. We live because we have to live. Danger of everything, But then when we cross to go abroad, there's also another aspects of life that we don't get prepared before coming, because what we always in our mind is that the grass is always green on the other side. Yes, it could be green on the other side, but it could be green with a lot of stuff to pick in that green grass to make it look beautiful. You have to know what it is in that green grass you really want to have and what you don't want to have. And the problem always comes from us, from back where we were. Because when we are home, when I say home, like us who come from Africa, when we are home and with the dream of going abroad to live, to seek education, all that, we don't get the time to really appreciate what we have in our own country, what we have in our own culture, in our own system, to really get to learn. So you know that when you go abroad, this is what you're going to appreciate, and this is what you're not going to appreciate. You're going to appreciate what you have home better. Most of the time, we're just busy trying to go abroad, which is good, it's fine. But when we get here, we find another problem in front of us, is that the problem is how to fit in. Now, that's a big problem that we all face, all of us who live abroad. When you leave your comfort zone, you want to go. But when you get in, you find another problem facing you. How do I fit in? Because where you come from, nobody knows how you used to live, how people act, how people dress, how people eat, how do we talk with respect or without respect? Do you look somebody straight to the eyes? Like your parents, and talk to them and say, I don't like what you're doing. Don't talk to me like that, Mom. No, we don't do that. But then when we get here, we have those kind of things to face that are not part of our daily life home. And you have to find a way to fit in. For example, you go on an interview. You cannot look at your boss and start talking down and look it down, because that's not how they do here. Here is eyes to eyes. You got to talk, you got to challenge. And some of our culture is disrespectful to look at somebody, an elderly person, who's giving you either advice or who's talking to you, and you're looking at them eyes to eyes and challenging them. No, it doesn't happen. So the trouble that we find when we get here, which I call trying to fit in, is a harder one than trying to come here and dream that everything will be, perfect. Sometimes most of us find it a big bridge and don't know how to cross it or how to even stay in the middle. Some people just decide to cross the whole bridge and wait and see what's going to happen the other side. When I say a bridge, is that you have to know where you're from, your country. It's probably hard to know your country, but you have to know your culture, the system, some of the stuff that you like about your home. It'll make you have a little ground here to stand on, to identify who you are, because other way you get lost. When you get here, you're trying to learn the language, which is now yours, the attitude, when I say attitude, like how to express yourself in a way that people can accept you, understand you, and not feel like, you being somebody, because you're trying to make sure that you're acting like them or trying to be part of the society here, which means you have to know the way they talk, the way they do their body language, look at somebody eyes to eyes. That is called fit in. But sometimes we get so busy trying to fit in and forget about who we are too and where we come from. Do we keep that in so we don't forget where we come from when we're trying to fit in? I have some story that I can tell about myself when I first got here. It's been many years ago since I got here, and trying to make myself realize who I am myself and keep my identity, and also trying to fit in to be able to be accepted in this community or in this culture. It was a struggle, a big struggle, because leave alone that I was married to an American, that culture is already too challenged to put together. I'm an African from Cameroon. He's an American. Yes, he learned some of my culture, but not a whole thing. His family does not know my culture. And I'm living in a bigger culture that mine is only a little tiny bit. Nobody that I can speak my language day to day with. I had to shut my language, keep in a box while I'm learning, English. And as time goes, I'm trying so hard to learn English so I could be able to communicate with people, be able to tell them where I'm from, what do we do home. All that is taking time away, and my language is being shut down in a closet somewhere. Am I going to have time after all to get to speak with somebody about where I come from? And when I'm going to say it, is it going to be in my language? No, it's going to be in English. And by trying to fit in too, I'm going to look at the culture here, what is acceptable by the wide majority of people, and say, oh, that's better. I would have trying to do this and trying to know how to do this instead of bring my own, also keep what we used to do that is similar like that. So what happened is that we get trapped into wanting to fit in a culture, learn the language, learn the system, integrate to everything, and then yet our culture is being left behind. And the more days that go by, the more everything keep going behind. The time to go bring that culture back to present became so hard that we don't even, and then sometimes most of us are ashamed, are very ashamed of where they come from and don't want to talk about it because they're going to be embarrassed. They're going to be looked down. Oh, I would not talk about where I'm coming from because, I come from maybe a little village and people are going to make fun of me. And it's just embarrassed from, I'm living in New York, I'm living in California. Here, everything's so perfect. I'm just going to pretend like I'm just one of them. No, my dear, it's a wrong idea. You can never be one of them. We could try. We could try, but we could never be one of them because we still have our culture. And what happened, people who suffer in or fitting in decision that we're trying to do is our kids. Because when we're busy trying to fit in, trying to learn the culture, integrate to this culture to make it look like it's ours, basically borrowing it, we forget that we have all ours. And as they go by, we forget our culture. When now we have our kids, what do? We bring them to this culture again. We just forget about our culture completely. We give them food that is here, things that you never ate when you were in your home. When you were a child, your mother would never let you eat junk food. But because you really are busy trying to fit here, fit into the culture and everything, and you want your kids to also fit in this culture because it's much easier to do. It's not a lot of headache to trying to bring your child to to eat your bitter leaf, which, some people call it bitter leaf, we call it ndole. trying to get your kids eat baton or, a cheque or something like that. You're like, it's easy if I just give them hamburger all the time or macaroni and cheese. That is the hardest thing, trying to fit in, because in the bottom, line is not your culture, and you can never do it 100%, and your kids will never be 100% from here or from wherever you are. Always try. It's hard to do. But if you have started in the beginning when you got here, by accepting who you are, by not being ashamed of where you come from, once in a while you show them how you used to live, how it used to be home, you will never be ashamed to show your kids that, because it's already been part of the pattern of your life, knowing that I'm a guest. I am here as a guest. No matter how much I lived here, I'm a guest. I still have where I'm from, where I knew what to do from day one. And that I will never let it go. I need to keep it with me. They have, back home, they have a saying that don't never forget your old wife because of the new one, or don't ever forget your old pot because you bought a new one, because the new one can always be new. The old one know your secret and know the better ingredients to bring your food to be delicious, which means don't ever forget your culture. No matter how ugly, no matter how shameful, no matter how, not beautiful thing to present it is, just keep it. Is your culture, is who you are, is your identity, is your language. Because most of us find a way, it's not just here, it's also, even in Cameroon, most people just say it's easier for my kids to speak French instead of trying to work hard, teach them a language. Well, French is not your native language. French is not what your ancestors used to speak. They had a language. And God wasn't a foolish person to give you another language besides French, because French isn't yours. We learn French at school. French is a language that was given to us or was forced, either French or English. Whether you come from Cameroon, you come from Nigeria, you come from Ghana, we speak English, in some part we speak French, but we still have our dialect, our dialogue to learn, to teach our kids. We also have different culture. We don't have French fries. That's not what we used to eat. Let's teach your kids what used to happen home. Maybe one day they'll decide to say, I'm going to go see where my mom or my dad used to talk about it. The way she used to talk about it was so good that I just have to see it. I just have to go and have the experience. That's a wonderful thing to do, because you need your kids to know. Not only your kids, your friend will say, the way Georgette always talk about her home, the way this person always talk about her country, I just want to go see it with my own eyes. It just feel like it's diamond there, it's gold, it's the roses. Because when you get here, that's how they sell their country to you before you get here. You feel like when you get to America, life will be wonderful. Life will be spotless. You'll be picking money, things will be like Beverly Hills. No, when you get here, you find things that is not all perfect. And same as your country, same as your culture. Nothing's supposed to be perfect and like shining. There has some pothole where everybody close it, blend it, and say, it's my country, it's my culture. That's what most people do to us. And we get brainwashed, very brainwashed, by getting here. We look at our culture and like, gosh, I'm glad I'm out of there. That language, that food, the way my country is, you come and talk negative of your own country when nobody here they can talk negative to their own country, but it's still their country. We are here in their country. And because they make their country be the gold diamond, we fall for it. Ours can be gold diamond too if we bring it to that level, if we talk about it, if we value what we have. And therefore, we get lost. Some of us sometimes get lost to the point they don't find who they are anymore. They don't have any identity. Are you an American? Are you African American? Who are you? Are you African? No, because you're not, because you don't show yourself as African or as anybody else. You show yourself as somebody who's lost in the universe. Because why? You lost your old part. You are negligent of your old part. Your old part is your culture, is where you come from, is your country. No matter how much you're trying to fit in here, you will never fit in 100%. But back home, back where you come from, yes, there will be some difficulty. When you go home, they will say, oh, you don't know how we do things now because you've been gone for a long time. But because you grew up there, you can always prove them that no, I know. I know a lot of things. Even though I've been gone for a long time, I know my culture because this is where I grew up. I know my language because this is the first language I started speaking before going to adopt or be colonized to other languages. So you can always have a place to prove that this is mine. Claim it. It's mine. It's my language. It's my culture. It's my village. It's my country. Like we hear all the time. America is my country. Yes, it's our country, but we're borrowing it. We're not really from here. Every day we get told that, we get to hear that. Every day you get the sign with your accent, where you're from, what do you do? You need to be able to bring that in. Where you from? Oh, yes. Dear, I'm from Africa, and I'm proud to be African. I didn't come here because no matter what it is, always value your own self. It's like somebody who don't like to value their parents because their parents are poor. Don't want to talk about their parents because, it's embarrassing for them. But you know what? In the end of the day, you're not going to borrow somebody else to be your parents. And they will be your parent fully like your way you want it. There is always going to be something. By borrowing a country to be your own country, one day it's going to, it's never going to be your country fully. There's something that you're going to miss from the old country, from that mother of yours or your father that you didn't want to talk about them, present them because you're ashamed of them being poor. And that's the trouble that we have here when we get here, trying to fit in, look down on things that we had before. Well, if we come here and be who we are, it's because of that country that we come from. The education, maybe the hard life that we had made us be the person that when you come here, you fight hard to get what you want to get. You don't let somebody give you food on the table. You go and find your own food and get hard job. You don't give things to that country that made you be strong. You just look down and say, phew, I'm never going to go there. It's just full of mud. The roads are bad. This and this and that. Boy, you think, and then where you are, were you the one who did that job to make it better? Somebody else did to make their own home better. What you should do too to make your home better is how can I fix my pothole that is back home that I'm ashamed to talk about it because I have pothole. You go fix it and then you'll be proud of talk about your country, your culture. If you're not able to, fix it, at least keep some of the good part of your story alive to your kids, to your friends and family. Have some pride. Be proud of where you come from. Be proud of who you are. That's the thing. Let's not try to fit in so much that we forget who we are. We forget our own identity. We became lost. And that's how most of the time our own kids also follow that road. They become lost. They can adopt this culture into the end. But one day they're going to realize and say, my mom used to say she wasn't born here. She was from some country like in Africa. I mean, I don't know because she never brought us there. If I even go there, who's going to know me? What language am I going to say? How am I going to introduce myself? That's your fault because you didn't bring your kid. You didn't make your kids understand where you're from and how did you get here? Why did you come here? And before you got here, who were you before you got here? That's your mission to do, is to teach your kids who you are. Share with everybody who you are. Don't ever be ashamed of who you are, where you come from. Be able to share. By sharing, by not being ashamed will help you save most delicate things in your life. They was in your life, and people will keep you alive from, generation to generation. But if you shut it down, you don't share with people, you don't talk about your country because you're, ashamed, you don't talk about your language because it sounds bad in somebody's ears, you're killing it, you're burying it, and it's gone. So I'm here today to share. Yes, we want to go abroad. We want a better life, but let's bring in to accommodate what we already have. Let's bring a good life to accommodate what life we had and keep everything in our hands. Don't drop one hand and keep one. You need both hands in your life. You need your culture. You need a culture from abroad to be able to handle the world, because it's not an easy thing. My message to you today is that work hard to try to fit in. Work hard also trying to keep your culture and your identity. I hope you enjoyed this video that I gave, and I want you to always, keep your identity. It's nothing better than knowing where you are, who you are, where you're coming from, and to be able to stand, not every day, but one day you'll be able to be proud and say, at least I'm not from here. At least we don't do it like that from home. Because we all say that all the time. When you see something's wrong, you're like, at least my kids will never talk to me like that, shaking your head. In my country, they don't do that. See? You're bringing something that you had from your home, that you know that you shouldn't have done from home. And that's why we're here, that let's not get our kids be lost in our own mistake because we're trying to fit in. Let's bring our kids to know where we're from and where they're from, the world they're living in, because tomorrow they're going to need it. It's going to be a tool for them to identify who they are. My name is Georgetta J, and I always happy to see you watch all my video on music and culture. It's educational, and I ask for you guys to share these videos for somebody tomorrow that'll help them get to the right track if they had, got a little bit off the track of, not want to show their weird identity or run away from a weird identity. Keep sharing it, and then click the button for more notification for more video to come. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.